There was an old story people told where I grew up. Not a campfire story, not something meant to scare tourists. Just a warning, the kind old people repeat in quiet voices when the sun starts to set. If you hear your name in the Birch woods after dark, don't answer. That was it. No explanation, no monster, no details. Just a rule. Growing up, I thought it was ridiculous. Every town has stories like that. Ghosts in the lake, creatures in the hills. Something that whistles outside your window. People tell those stories because they're bored. At least, that's what I thought. I was 23 when I learned why nobody laughed when they talked about the Birch woods. It happened in late October. The leaves had already died. The world looked grey and rotten. I'd spent the evening at a friend's house in the next village and decided to walk home. The road cut through a stretch of old birch forest. The walk usually took 20 minutes. I'd done it hundreds of times. The moon was hidden behind clouds. The only light came from my phone. I remembered the silence. No birds, no wind, nothing. Just my footsteps crunching over fallen leaves. Then I heard it. A woman's voice. Soft, far away, almost lost among the trees. Emma. My stomach tightened. Not because I was scared. Because I was annoyed. I thought someone was messing with me. I stopped walking and looked into the woods. Nothing. Just pale tree trunks standing in darkness. Then the voice came again. Closer. Emma. I rolled my eyes. Very funny. My own voice sounded strange. Like the forest swallowed it. No answer came back. The woods became silent again. I kept walking. 5 minutes later I heard it a third time. This time from the opposite side of the road. Emma. The voice sounded exactly like my mother. Every word, every inflection, every tiny detail. I froze. My mother lived 40 minutes away. There was no reason she would be standing in these woods. And yet I would have sworn it was her. I laughed nervously and hurried on. That's when I remembered the story. If you hear your name, don't answer. For the first time all night, I felt uneasy. The road seemed longer than usual. The darkness between the trees looked deeper, as if the forest had grown while I wasn't paying attention. Then something moved, just beyond the breaches. A figure, tall, standing perfectly still, watching me. I lifted my phone. The light touched pale fabric. A woman, or something shaped like one. Her face hidden behind a white veil. The cloth hung all the way to the ground. I blinked, and she was gone. I didn't stop. I practically ran the rest of the way home. By the time I reached my apartment, I'd convinced myself it was nothing. A trick of the light, an overreactive imagination. I locked the door, made tea, watched the television. Eventually I fell asleep. At exactly 4:13 a.m., I woke up. Someone had whispered my name, right beside my bed. I sat up so fast, I nearly fell. The room was empty. The apartment was silent. I checked every room. Nothing. No intruder. No open windows. No explanation. I barely slept after that. The next morning, I told myself it had been a dream. But then I noticed something strange. Mud. Wet black mud. Leading from my front door, across my floor, down the hallway, and stopping beside my bed. I stared at the footprints. There was only one set. Bare feet, human shape. Yeah, wrong. The toes were too long, far too long. I cleaned them up, Didn't tell anyone. I should have. Or the next week, things got worse. I started hearing my name everywhere, in crowded stores, empty hallways, the shower, sometimes in my own apartment. Always the same voice, always just above a whisper. Emma. Every night it sounded closer. Every night it felt less human. I stopped sleeping. Dark circles formed beneath my eyes. People at work asked if I was sick. I lied and said I was stressed. The truth sounded insane. One evening I finally called my grandmother. She grew up in the village. If anyone knew the old stories, it was her. When I mentioned the voice, she became silent, completely silent. For so long I thought the call had dropped. Then she asked, "Did you answer it?" A chill ran through me. Maybe. Another long silence. Then she said, "Then she knows where you are." I laughed nervously. "What are you talking about?" My grandmother took a shaky breath. "When I was a little girl, they called her the woman in the Birch whale." I listened. Every instinct told me to hang up. Instead, I sat frozen. "They say she isn't a ghost." "Then what is she?" "No one knows." Grandma's voice dropped to a whisper. "But she learns people through their names." The room suddenly felt colder. "Once she hears your answer," Grandma stopped, "she starts becoming you." The line went quiet. I couldn't speak, couldn't think. Finally, I asked, "What happens when she finishes?" My grandma started crying, and then she hung up. That night I locked every door, closed every curtain, turned on every light. Around midnight, the whispering started. Not one voice, many, dozens, all saying my name, from outside, from inside the walls, from beneath the floor. "Emma." I covered my ears. It didn't help. The voices grew louder, closer, until suddenly they stopped. The silence felt worse. As I froze on my couch, listening, waiting, then I heard footsteps from my bedroom, slow, bare feet crossing the floor. I lived alone, every muscle in my body locked. Another step, then another, then the sound of breathing, standing just beyond the doorway. I couldn't move, couldn't scream, couldn't even blink. A pale figure slowly stepped into view. White veil, mud-covered feet, tall, impossibly thin. And then she lifted the veil. I wish she hadn't, because underneath was my face, every detail, every scar, every eyelash, me, only smiling, a smile so wide it split her cheeks. I don't remember what happened next. The next thing I knew, sunlight was pouring through my windows. I was sitting alone on the couch. The apartment was empty. No footprints, no veil, nothing. For months I convinced myself I'd imagined it. Sleep deprivation, stress, a nightmare. Until last week, I was visiting my grandmother's grave. As I stood there, I noticed another woman at the edge of the cemetery, standing among the birch trees, watching me. White veil, motionless. I looked away, just for a second. When I looked back, she was gone. Something was carved into the frost covering my car window. 5 words, written by a finger, written from the inside. Almost finished becoming you. I haven't gone near the Birch woods again. I don't answer when someone calls my name from behind me. And sometimes, late at night, when my apartment is completely silent, I hear breathing, not beside me, not outside, inside the room, waiting, patient, like something wearing my face is getting ready to come home. You felt it, didn't you? That moment where something changed. You almost heard it. Play it back. It's clearer the second time. You've been listening to Dead Air. If you enjoyed the episode, follow the show. And remember, listen closely. New episodes every week. Good night. You stayed. We knew you would.
Don't turn